Today I'm testing new watercolors to see if they're actually worth your money. I'm going to swatch them out, do a few quick mixes for darks, and then I'll be painting this pair to see how they really perform. Let's get into it. Went to the mailbox and I had a nice little surprise package from Woomer, and they make watercolors and watercolor supplies. They had contacted me a little while ago and asked if I would be interested in trying out their new 24 set of watercolors, and this is not a sponsored video. Mind you, they did gift me the actual watercolor set, and I do not receive any type of commission or anything like that. So this video is just strictly based on my real, true opinions, which all my videos will always be based on that. Oh my word. There we go. I have to say I love the color, that green. Okay. Oh, the tin feels really nice. It has a nice kind of matte feel to it. Oh, and it actually feels like it's a good quality tin. Now look at all of those colors. Oh, I don't even have to use my book. They provided a little swatch chart that you can actually do and keep right in your watercolor box, which is awesome. So let's use that instead of my book. Oh, okay, so they really, oh my goodness, they really reconstitute really nice. That's actually quite a lot of pigment for just touching the brush. I did not pre-wet these, and I just like to see how easy it comes up. So this is your permanent yellow. Oh my goodness, okay, I'm really shocked. Like these really, just coming right off the pan, they're smooth and they're creamy, and I really like them. Wow. And not that I thought they were gonna be bad, because I have seen this company around before. Wow, look at the transparency on that. What is that? Let's just check it out. Golden PY83, and that's a 7, so it's light fast. And I'll probably do my own light fast tests eventually, but they take a while. Oh, this is orange yellow. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, you know what? That's quite nice. So now I've got to figure out what we're going to paint with these to give them the ultimate test. I have to do it this way. I can't keep moving the thing. So this is mandarin red, and right off the bat, I'm barely touching these with water. The pigment that's coming up is really good. Like, look, look at the pigment. Oh, that's pretty. Okay, so I'm sorry. I get so excited. I'm like a kid. But I'm always on the lookout for good quality, reasonably priced supplies. I have lots of students and lots of people that ask my advice, and it's always nice to be able to give a range of supplies in different budgets. Not everybody can afford big, expensive watercolor sets. And especially if you're only using them in a sketchbook or something, you do not need a $300 set of watercolors. I'll look this up and I'll put on the, oh my goodness, that's beautiful. So that's one of the 6s, and that makes sense. It's not going to be as light fast. It's PV1, which actually I've never heard of. Maybe it's mixed with something else, but PVs are usually not organic pigments, they're man-made. So I'll have to look into that one. Here we go with the violet. Yeah, I am just barely touching these. I'm shocked. I'm shocked. Like, you see what I'm doing. I'm not cutting anything out. Now that lotus was a little less saturated, but look, just letting that sit on for a minute. Look at the paint that drops off. Lake blue, and this is an 8. Oh, this reminds me of a cyan, that's beautiful. I always say that. I love this blue. It's one of my favorite blues. Okay, so aqua blue. Oh, that's like a phthalo blue. They're very close. I wonder what the difference is. I guess this one is a little stronger, but they're very similar. I'll have to try them like when we washed out. Oh, this one, now do you see where I'm actually bringing that up? And this is the first one that's looked like this. It looks kind of milky. Oh, and that's ultramarine blue. Oh, that's shocking. Ultramarine, which is PB29, it should be completely transparent. Oh, it is. Oh, what's going on there? We'll see when it dries. Oh, this blue looks similar again. Oh, this is a phthalo. I only took a couple swipes. That is unbelievable. Yes, and that's the phthalo that I love, but these two lighter ones are nice, but they're very similar. Oh, that's pretty. This one looks like it might have a little coating too there, and that could be it too, right? Oh, that's nice too. This is emerald green. Oh, that's pretty. And this is phthalo green, which I like phthalo green. It's great for mixing other greens with. Like the pigment that are in these I'm impressed. I am really impressed. So this is ochre. Oh, that's nice. And this is reddish brown. Oh, yep, you can see the red. I wonder if that's like a burnt sienna. Sorta, a little more red, but that's beautiful. And then we have just brown. Yeah, my first opinion of these with the whole, I didn't pre-wet them, nothing, and just putting that little bit of water on them with the brush, and there's no resistance. As soon as I put that water down, my brush, it's picking up pigment. I can feel it. It's silky. When you put your brush down, it's silky. See if we can get this. Is that opaque? Yeah. That black is opaque. Okay, they're very pretty, but these three blues, I think seem too close to the same thing. These two especially. This one's a little deeper. Now the ultramarine blue, of course, when you mix it, it'll be different. So now that the ultramarine blue has dried, that white kind of look to it has gone. So if we go the ultramarine blue, yep, so that is making it sort of like a purpley red. So I'm going to take the brown and I'm going to take the ultramarine blue. I think I got a cat hair going. Yeah, so this ultramarine blue, it's not quite the same as the ultramarine blue I'm used to using. I'm used to using French ultramarine blue, which has a red undertone, and I'm thinking this one might have more of a yellow undertone. Let's try the phthalo blue. Oh yeah, that's nice and strong. And let's mix it with some of our reddish brown and see what happens. Reddish brown. Oh yeah. Oh, look at that. That is beautiful. So on here, you can actually see the red. Let's bend it a little more towards the blue. That gives us a nice gray and dark black. Let's try our phthalo green. Now the phthalos tend to be very staining, but look at how nice they're mingling. Look at that. Like, that looks really nice. And let's go with some of this vibrant. Look at that. Okay, so let's try some of the red. Oh, that is beautiful. What one is that again? Oh, that's a purple red. Okay, purple red, and let's use the same green. Oh yeah. These are going to be beautiful in my sketchbook. They're just going to be beautiful. You don't need big, fancy, expensive paints, especially if you can find affordable paints that act like expensive paints, that are good quality. And sometimes that's really hard to find. Let's just add a little more green. Okay, so look at that. That's with that purple red. And let's add a little more of the purple red. Oh my goodness, that is beautiful. And let's see if we can get it a little more red. Oh yeah. See, and I always love to mix and just see what darks I can make. And I knew with the saturation of these colors, like they seem to have a nice pigment load, I knew that they would give me good dark colors. I do want to see though what the difference is between these, because looking at the pan, they do look different. That was the aqua blue. Let's try the lake blue. Oh yeah, yellow, red. I can see the difference right there. Oh my goodness, look at that phthalo. This is very close to this. Let's try this permanent yellow. This is so nice. Let's try the grass green and just add some yellow and see what happens. This is such a pretty, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, look at that. Oh, that is beautiful. Oh yeah, that glows. Wow, Woomer, I'm impressed. And I don't impress easily, but these are nice. These are very nice paints. Like, even they're drying nice. Wow, I'm kind of excited. Yeah, I really like that. That'll be a color we'll use in our sample, hopefully. I'm going to use a piece of the paper that they sent because it turns out it is 100% cotton, and it's actually quite textured on one side and it's smoother on the other, and it says you can use it on either side. I think I'm going to use it on the textured side. Just this set on their website is $39.99 US, and if these colors behave the way I hope they do, then it's a really good deal. So there's the colors, are completely dry from the swatches, and they're very vibrant and they're very beautiful colors. I'm just going to quickly sketch a pear. The nice thing about pears, they don't have to be perfect. I'm actually going to start with the red. We're going to make a red table, but I'm going to put water down first to test the paper, and we're going to let that sink in for a second. Just tilt it to see if I got it all. There we go. I think we're going to go with the scarlet. It is so pretty. This would be this nice bright one right here. I have not even pre-wet these paints, and look at the pigment that is coming up just with my brush. So let's start down here. I'm just going to paint this wet and wet. But this paper, I'll tell you, right off the bat, the first thing I notice is it's holding the water. It is not drying out too fast, and that's one of the biggest problems with cheap cellulose paper. It's drying out before you're even on the other side of your wash, and that's what makes it so hard to get consistent results. So I'm going to dry this with a hairdryer just for the sake of speeding this up. Now let's get some of that yellow. I'm just going to glaze, put a layer on the pear first, and I don't want this to be too dark. So when you're painting wet and wet, it will dry lighter because the water helps dilute it. When you're painting dry or wet on dry, then you have to be a little more careful about the color of your paint. I mean, it will dry lighter anyway. This is the grass green. Yep. Ooh, that's quite bright, but that's okay. I'm just going to kind of mark in where my shadows are going to be. Oh, these colors are so vibrant. And now I'm dropping in wet and wet. So that's putting wet pigment on wet areas. And you can do this as long as you still have a nice sheen on your color, which I do. Okay. Now I'm going to take some of that red and I'm just going to put it just lightly. Try not to get it too close to the green because that'll make a yucky color. And it is really spreading out, which is nice. And we will get some of our red brown. Oh, that's so pretty. And if you notice, all I'm doing is just touching my brush with a little bit of water. It's amazing, really, how well. That might be a little too dark. Let's just grab a little on the edge and water it down some. Let's dry that up. So I don't know if you've seen my comparison on watercolor papers, but I compared cotton papers, cellulose papers, and graded them. I have a whole video on them. I just want to show you a cellulose one. Yeah, so this is a good example right here. I won't tell you what paper this is. You'll have to go watch the video because this video is not about that. But if you see where I dropped color in, never fully feathered out, this was second to the last. It was not a good paper. I want to, in fact, I can just reuse this right here. I want to have a darker color for my shadow. Let's just go with our plain brown, and I'm just going to get a little bit of shadow and make our stem a little bigger. Okay, so now I'm going to rinse my brush, and we're just going to pull that out and see how that pulls out, make sure we don't have too much water. So I'm just going to start back, and I'm just going to tickle that edge. Okay, so I want to get some orangey red right here, and I'm going to actually just paint that on, and I'm going to soften and blend the edges out. So let's back up one. We'll add some of that orange. That's an orange yellow. That is so nice. But I am going to put a little red in it. Normally I have a little tester. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Okay, so this is just another, going to glaze over top. So put a little there, a little there. So this is where you have to be careful with any type of paper. You have to watch, and the edge that's drying first is the one you want to pull out first. You don't want to get too much water because you'll get a back run. Okay, so I do want to just, and that's okay that it's getting darker down here. That's shadowed. Gonna grab some of this yellow. I just want to put it nice and bright up here to remind me that this is the highlight. Just picking a little back up. Now we're gonna take some of this green, and I want that nice dark kind of muddy green, the emerald green, which I believe is right here. Yeah. Oh, wrong one. Oh yeah, that'll have to be mixed with something underneath that beautiful other green, or over top of that other green. It just really glows. Okay, let's just finagle this up here a little. So I'm really just pushing the boundaries here. So this was partially dry and this was wet, and you shouldn't do that, but I do it when I'm testing watercolor paper just to see how it's going to react. And here you can see where I pulled it out, but that's not the paper, that is me. I didn't blend it all the way out. Okay, so let me grab a tiny bit of this red and we are going to dull this green down. Now, this isn't completely dry and you should not add pigment when it is in this stage, but I am. Just because when I test, I really like to push. And you have to be careful too, because if you take pigment that has way more water in it, like this green does, or this yellow does, it's going to push your other back. So I'm just going to, I want to add a little bit of the orange there to let it blend. Okay, I'm going to dry that. And you can see where I was telling you about the yellow, it had more water. You see how that's pushing that? And that's okay, that would do that on any paper. Oh, you know what I want to do while we're at this stage? I just want to try and see if I can lift some of this, just to see. Get a clean spot on my paper towel. Yep, so there, that's nice. So, and I'm not scrubbing. It might sound like it, but I'm not. All I'm doing is putting water on and I'm just reactivating the paint. So that's all I did was lift a little off. Get my bigger brush back. So now we're going to put some of this really glowy yellow on, the one that I really liked. Like, yeah, it's so vibrant. And I really am just laying these vibrant colors in just because they're so nice. I want to see how they dry. Okay, so we're going to start upside down and I'm going to keep my tip to the brush. And this is called layering, glazing, and I'm going to go over the whole thing with this beautiful, vibrant yellow. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to rinse my brush, get rid of the water, and all I'm going to do is back it up a little here and I'm just going to touch that edge so it blends out. So that's our highest highlight. We would also have a highlight in the yellow here, or in the orange. So I'm going to try and stick with the colors I've been using. So I'm going to grab that's the grass green. I can tell as soon as I use it. This is the deeper green. Yeah. Okay, so I want to grab a little bit of our reddish brown because red and green neutralize each other. They're across from each other see how that turned it kind of a gross color? They're opposite on the color wheel. There we go. I just want to add a tiny little shadow there. Oh, try not to go out on your red. It's okay if you do though. Now, if you notice, I'm dabbing off the water off my brush. So my brush is just barely damp. I'm just going to pick up this edge. So let's just see that red picks up very easy. So see how I've got a white spot there? Typically when I did the shadow, I would have softened that out. There, well, we're going to glaze over it anyway. I'm just kind of trying to disguise it. So I would like to just lift a little highlight there as well. And you know what? Keep your highlights as you're painting, but I do this on all of these tests. I like to lift. If you want to know if it's dry, touch it with the back of your hand. This is really cold. It's still wet and there's no sheen on the paper. So if I added paint right now, it would just destroy that painting. So I'm going to make sure it's good and dry. And this tape is the tape that I got from Temu, and the heat peels it right off, so that's not good. I'm still on the search for a good art tape. If you know one, let me know. Okay, let's get a little more of our red brown. Okay, that might be a little too warm. Let's add a little bit of this purple, because purple will dull down green. Okay, let's throw a little more in. We don't want it to be too thick. Okay, so this is going to be our darkest side, and I have to tilt it up a little so I can see what I'm doing. Right off the bat, I'm going to dry my brush off. I'm just going to tickle that edge really quick. I don't want it to be perfect. That's a song I sing in my head. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, let's dab my brush off again. Just going to pull that like that. I want to add a little more there. Oh, I dropped some water. So I'm famous for this. I put my brush too deep in the water. So then when I drop water, so now the only way I can stop that for back run is to go over the whole thing again there, because that was a lot of water. So yeah, make sure you don't do that. Yeah, you can see it there, but that's okay. We know that was my error. Oh yeah, it's bad. That's okay. In fact, maybe. Okay, let me get a little. Okay, so you don't want it that black. Now I made it quite watery, so I have to make sure I don't touch that. If your painting is still wet, like no, it's not, never mind, it's not wet enough. Okay, so I just want to have a little bit, and if you notice, I went a little lighter this time, because as you get up to the top, it's going to get lighter. Okay, let's dry that. That's looking pretty good. Okay, so you can see where I hit it with the water, but that's okay. I'm gonna get some of this red, and we're going to grab a tiny bit of this green. I forgot how watery it was. So what I'm aiming for is darker. Yep, so you see kind of how that's nice and dark? This is going to go underneath this, and I don't want it perfect. And you have to be careful. If you notice, that dried out really quick on me because I barely had any liquid on my brush. And you don't want that. You want to make sure you have enough water. And this is where you can kind of just maybe get a little bit of texture. Be careful too, because if this isn't dry over here, which it was not, okay, let me just combat that. I'm actually just going to kind of merge, because you can see where it wasn't quite dry. And normally I leave things alone and let them dry, but I can be pretty impatient. Like if I was painting on my own in my studio, I've got more than one painting going. Okay, so let's just draw. Oh, there's that. Look. So, look, there it is. That's what I'm dropping on my painting. So if you find you're getting all these weird backgrounds, check your brush. If we make this a little darker, a little thicker, the thicker paint won't push. It's water that makes paint push backwards. And I do want to just get a little bit of this red over here. And this is where you have to be careful. And that's going to just kind of neutralize it. And all I'm doing is I'm just kind of going back over, not with the red, just with water, kind of trying to smooth out that big mess I made. But that's okay. All right, I think that's looking quite interesting. Now I want to get some of this glowy yellow, maybe some of this orange. And that is quite thick. That way it will seep in. If something's wet and still has a sheen, you can still drop color into it. You just have to make sure that that color is thicker. It has to be thicker than what is on there. Thicker meaning more pigment, less water. This is a great way to get texture. Just kind of, I'm not hitting every edge. Like some are a little harder, some are a little softer. This orange is so beautiful. In fact, I like that. Let's get a little of that in there too, just to warm it up a little. Yeah, I like that. Come back with my lightest yellow, and I'm just going to pick up that nice edge. I'm gonna dry that. Okay, I think that's actually looking really good. And you do have to be careful. And I'm using a small brush, which usually the smaller the brush you use, the more little marks you get, because you're not covering a big area. If you get a big brush, let's put this orange. I'm gonna glaze that orange over top. Let's make sure it's got some water in it. Yeah, over top of this red. So with a big brush, you can deposit a lot more. See how the water comes out? And you load, go down this way, and get your bead. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about by bead, look for my background video. I'll link it underneath, because that'll show you how to do a flat wash. Oh, and of course in Krista style, I got some on the white, which I always do. It's a given. Oh. All right, so we only have few little things to do. And one of them is now I'm really going to scrub the paper. So now I'm giving it a test. Let me get a clean piece of paper towel. Okay, that paper held up really well. All right, I'm just going to get some brown, put it in with that green, get rid of the cat hair, and now I'm just going to do that. Going to come with my damp brush, and I'm just going to pick the edge of that up so I have a little bit of a highlight. I'm gonna get just some of that black because it is opaque, and just stick it right there. Okay, I'm going to dry that. And I mean, this, you don't have to do this. I'm just having fun. Just gonna dab, dab, dab. Kind of looks like, you know, maybe there's a few little imperfections. Maybe somebody's marked the skin up. So the only thing I can see that I really want is I want this pear a little more yellow. I think I really want this glowy yellow, and we'll add a little of the light yellow to it so it'll be nice and vibrant. And that might be a little too green, but that's okay. I just want the back. See how that's helping blend the back part of that? All right, and that extra glaze over top actually helped disguise some of that where I dropped the water. One thing that I really liked about this watercolor set is the box lists all of the pigment codes and light fast ratings for each color. Most are rated very high, and even the lowest ones are a 6 on the blue wool scale, which is still very good. Since I'm mostly using these in my sketchbook, I have zero concerns. For a set this vibrant that performs this well at this price point, the colors are rich and saturated. The color load is great. I'm genuinely impressed and think it's a great buy. It's an A+ for me. I'll put the link to this set in the description below. If you want to see what other supplies are living up to the hype lately, click right here and I'll see you over there.